So it's been a couple of days since we've done anything, and from the last video we did, basically my phone went flat halfway through it. So as you can see down there, the brake lines and fuel lines are all running through underneath. The fuel lines are up there, they're just sitting there at the moment. I've got to move them over a bit to go to where the rails and whatnot are. But you can see the brake, frickin' whatever that thing is called, I can't remember off the top of my head. That's fitted, the new brake lines are on. And they're basically running through to both sides. You can see those ones there, and up into here, it's got brand new brake lines. But the passenger side one used to run from here up there and then along the firewall and then back down and into here. So what I did was I just went through the firewall, put a bit of heat shrink, a few layers on that pipe to go through the firewall, which I'm going to probably put a bit more sealant and that on there just to give it a bit more protection. And if you can see up in there, the I've got it running around there, and it does clear everything over there. Runs across the firewall, then nice and neatly up through that bung, which was already there. It runs through into there. So yeah, so they're all new. We made them up. Well, I made them up. We've been doing a bit to the motor, because basically the engine bay is more or less ready for the, I think it's ready for the engine to go in. I just got to double check there's nothing else I need to bolt in before I put the engine in, just to make it easier for fitment, because once the engine's in I don't have to pull it in and out because it's a pain. So what I've been doing since then, I've been working on the motor. So this is the SR20 that we're using. We'll start from the left. I've basically pulled off cleaned up the thermostat housing. That was a second-hand one. I'll show photos of that later. But basically I just wire brushed it up and then gave it a good clean and polished, and I think that come up really good. Coming around this way. Now this radiator pickup for the top, this is the one that I was using, because this was the one that the guy I got the drift car off originally is what he was using. So that come in there, but it was shorter, which doesn't really matter, to be honest. I was going to use it, but then I needed to put a water pickup or return. I can't remember one of them. Let me think. Pickup, return. Pickup, one of them. So I was going to use that, but this is the one that come with the engine, and you can see it's got the water line tapped straight into there. And up under there is all the other fittings and whatnot. So they're all now on. I just got to put a couple of clamps, because I think I've run out of clamps. I got to put a clamp on the top and bottom of the waters. The oil return, the oil pickup are in. The monster dump pipe is fitted. So basically the turbo, that's just mocked up. I've got to take it off to put another gasket on, because one of the gaskets went walkabout. So I'll put all that on. Everything's more or less pretty good on this side. We did a bit of cleaning of some whatnots. I've got to go to a mate's workshop at some stage, but being with this stupid corona crap, which I'll get to in a minute, sort of wrecking everything and making it hard to basically do anything, because you don't want to go to someone's shop or workshop and frickin', you know, give them your germs. So basically, this is the housing that goes on under here, and it sits like so. Now, it normally had a fairly large water port coming out of that, which I busted off well, not busted off, but I undone it. I unscrewed it. I don't know where that is. But yeah, so I've unscrewed that. And I found a bit of thick alley that I had spare. And I spent a lot of time. And I actually hand-shaped that disc that goes in there. It's about 10 mil thick. And it basically blocks up that line. So I just got to get someone to weld around the outside and that little hole in the middle. Recycling stuff, so you got to do. And then I buffed all that up. Like I said, this was second hand, and look, she looks like brand new now. So those two holes are for 2 temperature senders. I'm not sure why there's 2, but SR20. So we're only going to use the one at the moment. So the other one will just be bunged up later. But I'll just use a normal bung. I won't weld it up just in case we want to use it again. And that's a water line that I don't need at the minute. But in case we decide to change the way we plumbed the turbo water lines, this one could come in handy as a pickup away. A pickup really. So I'll just put a rubber bung like I did on the other engine. And that'll sort that out. Yeah, so it's all fitting really nice. What else are we going to do? So today, I'm still tossing over what I'm going to do with the intake manifold, because we've got this big follow here and the standard one. But the big one, when you're putting it in the engine bay with the brake booster that goes on, it hits the brake booster. So I've got a brake booster delete kit that me and a mate at an engineering mob, TWB Engineering, we made this plate here that basically allows you to bolt the cylinder straight to the firewall without having a booster. But I'm in half minds to put another booster on, or do a brake booster delete. I mean a remote brake booster, because I really like this one. It's shiny. So I'm going to put that on, and then we're just going to work around it. If I have to look at later on a brake booster, remote brake booster, or put a smaller brake booster on, then yeah, we will. And then once I've sort of sorted the manifold, let's go over everything, and then she's more or less ready to go in the engine bay. We've got the S13 5-speed gearbox there. That's ready to go. I've got the lightened flywheel, the new clutch, which is a extreme performance clutch. So that's all there. So basically I've got everything to get it in the engine bay. So yeah, we'll work on that, because the manifold I've got, the standard manifold, is a front wheel drive manifold, and it's basically got there your runners, and your runners come out here, and then they go down, and you've got your plenum on the bottom and your intake over here. Where this big girl, it's on the top, and the plenum's on the top, and it's a bigger, your throttle's a bigger throttle. So yeah, basically the standard manifold will give us more lower torque. The bigger manifold will give it more upper torque. But I think with the lightened flywheel and the gear ratio we're going to be running, the 3.9, it should be fine. We've just got to sort that brake booster problem. It's not a problem. Like I said, I was deleting it, and now I'm in half minds of keeping it and just finding a smaller brake booster. So we might just pop it in, and then just, like everything, we'll work around it. But yeah, so that's where we're up to. like I said, it's all coming together well. Got a few changes coming up. In regards to the like I said, the cars, and we'll see how this bloody stupid Corona crap goes. But oh yeah, I've got to put the alternator on, but this is like a shitty ass alternator. I think it worked. I was told it worked. Thing is, I don't want to spend an hour cleaning it up so it's all nice and clean and shiny, and then put it on and it don't frickin' work. And my ohms meter has decided to stop working, so can't even really test the damn thing. But I don't think they're too hard to get on once the engine's in, because the alternator basically sits up in here. So I might get the mount on, clean the mount up, get that on, get that bolted on, and then we'll worry about the alternator later, just so we can keep moving.